Well, the Twin Cities real estate prices have officially dropped. We've been wondering and waiting if they were going to. They have. So what do you need to know if you're thinking about moving to Minnesota? In this video, I'm going to talk to you about exactly how our sale prices have changed, how they've changed across the 4 different major counties around the Twin Cities. And also there's some big rumors I've got to dispel in regards to townhomes versus single family. So my name is Joe Carmack. If you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe because I'm going to do even more in-depth market updates, which I do every single month, which you're going to need to see that to understand what we're talking about today. So make sure to subscribe and let's get into it. Okay, so instead of having my normal, sexy little graphs, we're gonna actually just take you straight into the system. It's called InfoSparks, and here's where I can really break apart things. So we're gonna start you off easy. What you're looking at right here, you can see down here, we're at the median sales price, and this is for the entire Twin Cities. Now this is a rolling average, and you can see we actually haven't seen any changes in that rolling average since January this year. We're still sitting flat at 365,000, but as you know, I just said prices went down. Now, they were not super major so far. Last month in March, our numbers were at 427,500 roughly, and we're currently at basically 427. You can see that number right there. So we only went down about $500 in our average sales price around the Twin Cities. So we're gonna wanna keep an eye on that one. That could, that number itself isn't terribly significant. I'm not really worried about $500, right? But let me zoom out for you. Let's go as far as I can go back. That's actually the first time since basically 2012 that we've seen our numbers going down at all. There was technically one month in here, I think it was $6 exactly that prices went down, but other than that, we haven't seen any meaningful price lowering since 2012. So we were kind of due, to be completely honest. We'll go more into that in our market updates, but we've been kind of expecting things to cool off for a while. Then you throw in a bunch of inflation and the Federal Reserve hiking up those rates. All of that was intentionally to cause this to happen because prices are just getting really out of control. So this is not a bad thing. I want to say, first of all, if people are worried, I know there's so much doom and gloom and just dramatizing of the media and the market's crashing. It's $500, okay? The market has not in any way crashed in the Twin Cities, and if it continues to go this direction a little bit, I'm actually perfectly okay with that. So why don't we break down which one of the counties are seeing the most changes? So now up here you can see in the top left, I've got Hennepin County selected. Hennepin County is where Minneapolis is located. That's by far our biggest county around the Twin Cities. This is gonna be most of the Minneapolis area and then over towards the west, generally speaking. So Hennepin being one of our biggest counties, we're still up 5% over the last 12 months. So that one hasn't gone down at all. And then also with the last month, it's up around $600 as well. So we did not see any negative changes in Hennepin County. I'll switch now to Ramsey County. Ramsey is where St. Paul's located, so it's mainly St. Paul, a little north and south, and then out towards the east side of St. Paul. It's up 6% for year over year, so regular increases there like we've been seeing. It also didn't go down. It was up less. It was only up about $300 from March to April this year, but overall, not a negative number. The 2 counties that we did see some negative numbers happening in, first of all, is going to be Anoka County, like you can see here. Anoka County is going to be on the north side of the Twin Cities, north of Minneapolis a little ways, Coon Rapids, Blaine, Andover, those kinds of areas. So this one we did see home prices go down. You can see in March we were just about $384, and then in April we were about $383. So only about $1,000 decrease. I did the math on this one just for fun. To give you that in a percentage form, that's about 1/5 of 1%. So if you take 1%, you cut it into 5 pieces, it's only one of those pieces. So a very, very small amount, even still, that is a change over only 1 month. So $1,000 over a month is notable. It's mainly just interesting because it's the first time that we've gone down in that average sale price. Dakota did go down a little bit more. So this is Dakota County. This is primarily south of St. Paul. The bigger county down on the south side, below Hennepin and Ramsey. 403,700 for March, 401,700 for April. So that one went about $2,000 negative. Now, before I can show you the difference between single families and townhomes and how they hold their value, I want to do a comparison with the counties. Now, here's what's really interesting. Let me put my marker right in here, kind of around, let's say June of 2020. Now, what's significant about that? Obviously, we had the pandemic happen right in March. Things got shut down. So everything that was pending sold off. And then June is really where we can start to see the effects of COVID happening. So if you look prior to where my marker's at there, basically all of those 4 counties stayed very consistent and they just ran parallel over the previous 10 years or so. So no major changes. However, what I do think is fascinating that I'm really dialed into is from this point forward, you can see the 2 more median counties, I would call them, Anoka and Dakota, which are the purple and red there, they actually both started to go up in value faster than the Hennepin and Ramsey counties. So Hennepin and Ramsey, that's going to be the blue and the green there, they actually started slowing down. So I think it is fascinating. We've always kind of known that with COVID, a bunch of people were able to go remote. This is kind of signs that they did, and that drew less demand into the more urban areas, more demand into the suburban areas. Suburban is definitely what Anoka and Dakota counties are. And so that was pretty interesting. Let's talk about townhomes versus single family. This is fascinating and super important for you. In blue, you're gonna see, this is for the whole Twin Cities region, both of these lines, but in blue, it's only for single families. Red, it's only for townhomes. So right off the bat, you can see townhomes overall are gonna save you about $100,000 on your sale price. Townhomes being $292, single families being $397. So that's a great benefit there. What you're also gonna notice though is I've heard people speculate that townhomes don't hold their value as well as single family, and that's just not true at all. You can see this number here is for the last 3 years, but why don't I pull it back as far as we can go? And you can actually see that they've both held pretty much parallel for a really long time. There hasn't been any major shift, and in fact, single families have actually gone down in value sooner than townhomes did. So I thought that was pretty interesting. Also, let's switch over to month supply. Now, this is gonna be a little teaser for our market update where we talk about this every month. But basically on this graph, the lower we are, the more of a seller's market it is, the more competitive it is. The higher we are, the more of a balanced market or buyer favor market it would be, okay? So on here, you can see for a really long time, single families being that blue line have been the more balanced market, meaning that more demand was actually on townhomes than on single families. So that was pretty interesting. 2 things to note. If you look back, this is basically when the market previously collapsed. Things kind of inverted a little bit, and they went from being balanced to being townhomes were more competitive there. Now, where are we at here? There's not a crash, but there is definitely a little bit of shift happening in the market. We see that those lines came together here. So we're actually seeing that townhomes could be going more towards being a balanced market more quickly, and that single families can actually be staying more competitive. So if you're buying your first home, for example, this could be a great option to be able to get into something without having to get so crazy on the terms that you're getting in order to get your offer accepted, right? We're not going as far over. Maybe there's, not waiving inspections, not waiving appraisal gaps, those kinds of things, which can really, really help you in the long run. So that's just a quick dive into the home prices around the Twin Cities. My name's Joe Carmack. I'm a local agent. I'd love to help you, and you're gonna find a ton of great content over on the channel.